Eric made it home just as Gabrielle set the last side dishes on the table. She turned and winked at him. "I figured if I made the rice, you would walk a little faster." Before Eric could say anything, John Michael piped up. "Dad, Mom had Meredith show a map of the station with a blip for you." Gabrielle turned to her son, eyes narrowing. Stephen Michael reached over to grab the Spanish rice. "Personally, I was hoping you might be a little late so I could have your portion." "Keep it up, Steve." Eric kissed his wife and pulled out his seat at the head of the table. "And I'll take all the rice for myself, including—" He picked up his fork and reached to his left, swiping some of the rice his son had just placed on his plate. "All of yours." "We have 2 grown men for sons," Gabrielle commented as she sat down. "And when the 3 of you get together to eat, it's like I have 3 boys again." "We are what we are, Mom." Stephen passed the bowl of rice to his dad. "You should roll with it instead of fighting the inevitable." John Michael grabbed a steak before passing the platter to Gabrielle, who passed it to Eric. He turned to his father. "So, did you kill anyone?" Stephen rolled his eyes. "We call it an after-action report." John elbowed his brother. "You diplomats should learn a trick or two." Eric took a steak and made sure he had plenty of rice. Gabrielle's eyebrow rose at the 4th spoonful, so he placed it back in the bowl. "Nope." "Maim?" John Michael asked. "Nope," Eric replied. "So it was quiet at the meeting?" John asked, a little surprised. "Oh, hell no," Eric answered before taking a bite. "That's what I keep trying to tell all testosterone and no brain cells next to me." Stephen elbowed his brother back. "Diplomacy is chess with major repercussions." Eric looked up from eating to see all 3 looking at him. "What?" Stephen asked. "So what happened?" The other 2 nodded their agreement with the question. He scratched his chin. "The general wanted to kill some of the groups by the end. They want to gut the empire of our military so that we can all be equal." John was talking with his fork. "Why the hell would we do that?" Stephen answered. "It's pretty much a requirement. Otherwise everyone will continue building their own militaries, and eventually someone is going to be bored or need to focus the people elsewhere, so they'll attack. It's better to try to keep everyone pretty equal." John Michael shook his head. "Uncle Lance won't let that happen." Stephen Michael shrugged. "Well, unless he wants another war right now, I'm not sure what choice he has." Gabrielle replied, "You will find out that you always have options, Stephen." Stephen Michael shrugged. "I can't think of any, and I reviewed the archives with Giles." Gabrielle's eyes narrowed. "He is doing digital archaeology?" John Michael and Eric glanced at each other and smiled. Stephen Michael continued. "Not really, but he was grounded for 90 days by Uncle Lance a month ago after he stole one of the unused pods to check out an area on y'all." John Michael stopped before he stuck his fork in his mouth. "He stole a pod?" Stephen Michael replied. "Technically, he took it without proper authorization. Since he had his father's okay, Meredith allowed him to use it." Eric was cutting his meat. "How did he get Frank's permission?" Gabrielle answered. "Barb said he was vague on one of his questions to his dad, but then told Meredith to parse the recording, so she didn't question the approval." Eric chuckled. "You'd think Meredith would learn." Gabrielle shrugged. "Apparently, even an AI can be charmed." Stephen Michael shook his head. "I've heard the women talk. It would take an alien to be safe from that guy's smile." Eric started reaching for the rice again, but stopped when Gabrielle looked at him. "What?" She shook her head. "Go ahead. I have another bowl in the warmer." Stephen turned his head in the direction of the kitchen. "Are you serious?" "Yes," she replied. "Go get it. I can see from your dad dumping the rest of the rice on his plate that we will need it." "Damn right we'll need it," Stephen muttered as he stood up to grab the extra. Eric put the empty bowl down. "Giles is a good guy, but he has too damned much of his mother and father in the wrong proportions for his own good." There was a moment of silence as Stephen Michael retrieved the rice. When he had returned, John Michael said, "So, we had a special assistant in training today." Eric noticed his wife's eyes narrowing before he turned to his son. "Oh? Do I know this person?" Stephen placed half the bowl of rice on his plate as he spoke. "She's about 100 and—" He looked up. "What do you weigh lately, Mom?"